Good evening, Dr. Fuerstenau. Thanks for visiting with me tonight. One of the items on your agenda this evening was a treasurer's report, and you mentioned the fact of these categorical payments that are not being received. Can you explain that and its effects, especially with regards to special education and transportation?
Well, I think that part of the funding to local school districts from the state of Illinois comes in the form of general state aid and then the mandated categorical payments, which the two biggest items of our mandated categorical payments are transportation reimbursement as well as special education reimbursement from the state. And what's concerning right now is the fact that last year we ended being short one categorical payment of around $382,000, Neil. And that's rather significant when you look at that's money the district should have received in FY16. Well, that money carried into FY17, and then what happens is that would be our first categorical payment we would receive in FY17, and it's already December 12th, and we have not seen that payment. Whereas last year we received that payment in September. So there are some things starting to that we're taking notice in terms of how many categoricals we might get this year. The district has always budgeted conservatively when it comes to categoricals. Typically in a good year we would receive 4 quarterly payments of our categorical money. And what's happened is last year we didn't get the fourth one from last year, and we only budgeted 2 additional payments this year. So that is, when it comes down to budgeting, we have done that as conservatively as possible. And it's concerning from the standpoint that we haven't got any payments as of yet. And, that's money that we did budget on the revenue side. And in the event that we don't get that, then we'll just have to use our reserves to offset the loss of the categorical money.
So the loss of the categoricals are things that you count on that you don't get, or you don't know that you're getting. You could get it tomorrow. You could get it next month. You could get it not at all. With regard to that, we're still able, our school district has received the highest rating from the State Board of Education, essentially on the way we handle our money. So even with the categoricals and the other things going on within the district, we're still doing the good job and the best with what we have. But the tank's coming empty, and at some point we're going to have to get some more money, which leads us to a possible tax rate increase. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, this evening as I went over the certifying the levy for next year, which ultimately, since Christian County is a tax cap county, we're limited in terms of what we can ask for. And basically, it's either 5% or the increase in CPI. And definitely, we had to use CPI because that's the way the law is, and that was at 0.7 this year. And when you factored that in with growing EAV, or our equalized assessed valuation, that had an effect on our overall limiting rate, or our operating rate, and that fell from 3 to 2.95556. The state does assume that you do have a local levy of 3%. That way you're able to show that you're making your local commitment. As I indicated this evening is that with the limiting rate or the operating rate at 2.9556, it's definitely at a point now where we're going to have an inability to do what we do best, and that's educate kids on that operating rate without making some budgetary adjustments. As you alluded to, that for the past 6 years the district has received the highest financial ranking from the state in being financially recognized in terms of how we manage our money and how we run our budgets. You know, the school board, the staff, and the administration have worked very hard over the past years to put the district in this position by making tough decisions and doing the things that need to be done to manage our budget. But we've been able to keep good things going for kids. Tonight we recognized 18 Illinois scholars this evening, and then we had 6 or 7 students that were recognized for all-state music programs. We're doing some wonderful things in the Taylorville School District and providing opportunities for our kids. As we discussed, we are running on empty. And if we want to continue to do the things that we want to do and that people want for their children, we're going to have to seek some additional revenue from the local source. Because, as you take a look at what the state has done to the district over the past 5 years, withholding $3.8 million in support, we really don't have a whole lot of other options except to seek additional local revenue. What's happening is the state revenue is being dried up. And when that happens, then you have to start looking at your services and programs that you're providing for kids.
I agree, and I know that the board did not take that decision lightly to have an increase. But you're in the business of education, and now you have the Herculean task of educating the citizens on why this is a must-have.
I think that it's one thing the board did pass tonight was a resolution that basically gives instructions to the clerk to place a ballot initiative of a 0.85% increase in the limiting rate for the educational purposes within the school district. It's one of these things that we've basically traveled down a long road for the past 11 years here, made difficult decisions, but one that the board and the administration and our staff have all worked together, that our educational integrity is still intact, our extracurricular programs are still intact. Neil, this isn't about threatening. I think that folks have come to an understanding that, hey, when you've downsized your faculty, you've closed buildings, you've done the things that you've been able to do, but at some point in time you reach an end. And that's really where the Taylorville School District is at right now. And that's one of the things that the board had to consider this evening. And they did pass the resolution to increase our limiting rate, 0.85, to be able to meet the needs of the children of this school district and their educational opportunities. And that's really what the citizens of our school district will be asked in April 4th in terms of what type of an educational program do you want for your children in the Taylorville community and the Taylorville School District. And as I ended, I said this evening is that the board cannot increase the taxes. The citizens will be asked of our school district if they want to increase their local support, which is much needed.
It'll be interesting to see how all this unfolds over the next 4 months and the support that you can drum up in support of this. Because after all, it is all about the kids. And our district does a great job with the resources that it does have. One thing that you talked about this evening was this dual credit program through LLCC in Springfield. Can you an idea of some things that are going well? Can you talk a little bit about that?
One of the things that as we sit down and we have discussion with the Board of Education and the administration and our staff is setting up some goals. And I think one of the things that we have to look at is in terms of the educational opportunities afforded Taylorville High School students. And this year we went back to the Career Area Capital Center, which is located in Springfield. That is tied with Lincoln Land for dual credit classes. And we have students participating in law enforcement. We have students in ag mechanics. And those types of programs are needed to meet the needs of students. We're very excited about that. This year we have 21. Our pre-registration numbers showed 75 students. Of course, with anything, you have to go through and you take a look at the applications and you look at the programs that they're interested in and then decide what the number will be. But one of the things that as we continue to grow the program and the opportunities for kids at Taylorville High School, it's important to note that if we're going to see those types of numbers, the district may look to becoming a member district of the Career Area Capital Center rather than tuitioning in of students. And I just think it's all about opportunities for kids. Mr. Hutchison this evening presented that there was a job fair over there, where actually CAC students were interviewed and internships, and some of them were even hired for work after they graduate. I think that, when you look at the high school experience, and it is an experience, and you need to provide a diverse experience for students, we have an opportunity that if you want to go to a 4-year university, you can do that. We offer the honors classes, the advanced classes. But if you're a student that may be looking at a community college or looking at a career or a vocation, what better place not to send them to is the Career Area Capital Center. And even for students that are bound for a 4-year program, they might learn something about an educational career or an opportunity for employment in the future. And that's really what we're about. We're taking a look at the future of Taylorville High School and the opportunities that we can provide to students.
So, in light of a dismal financial situation, mainly because of the state of Illinois, Taylorville School District is still doing great things, and we're still in support of our students. Thank you very much for talking with me this evening, Dr. Fuerstenau. Have a good night.
Thank you, Neil.